Good evening, folks, and welcome to Garbage Theater. Tonight's installment, Circle of Iron. I'm your host, Chase, my co-host, Blake and John.
Hello.
Hey.
Let's get this shit show on the road. So, how's week 83 of quarantine treating everybody?
Good.
I may have gotten coronavirus.
Nice.
Yeah. You know, just knocking it out, baby. Just like, forget it. Give me that virus. I had a fever.
We're all going to have to get it eventually.
Right. I had a fever and a cough, and the nurse practitioner that I had a video conference with couldn't rule it out, but I also couldn't get a test. So I'll never know, but I probably had it.
You know, we had an uncle that had it.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
It barely did anything.
Yeah, all that shit about people who aren't in good health, this totally flew in the face of that.
I don't know if it's just, that OTAN blood has got something in it, but yeah.
I love the guy to death.
Unfazed.
One of my favorite people in the world. But if it was going to take anybody, it was going to take him. And it didn't. He just couldn't taste for a few days. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, if I had it, like, really the worst thing I had was the cough was the worst part. I mean, and it really didn't bother me that much. Super mild, but
yeah. I mean, when all this first started, like all four of us were feeling under the weather a little bit, and like a little bit of fever, coughing, a little bit of lethargy, that kind of thing. And we weren't really thinking too much of it until we found out, like, a week later that we're one of the hot spots.
Right.
So, I don't know. Did we all have it already? Who knows?
I'm hoping I've had it. Like, that's what I want to find out when all this is over, that I had it and I didn't even know it.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That's the hope.
Because I wasn't looking forward to getting that stick shoved up my brain.
no.
Quit being a bitch.
I saw like a picture of a cutaway picture of how far that fucking thing has to go into your nose.
Yeah, this isn't the flu test. The flu test goes in there, what, like an inch?
Yeah, this goes all the way back.
This scratches the back of your brainstem.
Wow, could be in pansies.
I'm pretty sure they said the Egyptians got your brain out of there.
Weed it out.
Yeah.
True.
Well.
True.
See, I'm nice and strong and been drinking my disinfectant.
Can't touch me.
Nobody's gonna kill me but me.
Exactly. On my own terms, damn it. But
Anyway, on to whatever this was. Circle of Iron.
Do not know what it was.
It was pretentious. That review didn't lie.
Yes.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, it felt like at a certain point it was trying to be. I don't know if you guys have ever seen any like Alejandro Jodorowsky movies, like El Topo or The Holy Mountain.
I've seen a couple of Yoda movies.
Strung together a bunch of words that don't make sense to me.
All I heard was Yoda.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a real famous, art filmmaker, but he made these movies in the 70s, the early 70s, and they deal with like religious and philosophical and metaphysical themes, and it felt like this was kind of trying to do that a little bit, but it just like it felt really shallow and dumb. Like it was a really dumb version of something like that.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like some quest about finding yourself, but none of it lands. You take nothing from it.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like, showing you what Zen, is all about, but they did it like the way a 5-year-old would explain it.
Right.
Yeah, with monkey people and
yeah.
then it also just fails as an action movie. The action sucked. Like, it doesn't seem like it was choreographed at all. It was just kind of like, hey, why don't you guys just flail at each other and we'll fix it in editing. I don't know.
I think they knew it was shitty too, just by the sheer amount of times that they mentioned Bruce Lee before the movie even started.
Oh yeah,
no. Bruce Lee wrote this.
Y'all.
Yeah, there was a short novelization before the movie explaining that this was all Bruce Lee's doing.
Yeah.
So if you have any complaints, direct them to his grave.
Yes.
Like, for context, I looked up some of the other martial arts movies that came out the same year. In Hong Kong, of course, but like Drunken Master, the 36th Chamber of Shaolin, and the 5 Deadly Venoms all came out in the same year as this.
Okay, so this had no excuse.
No. Like, kung fu movies were doing it. Like, they were dope.
They had figured out the formula.
Well, let's jump in and get through Circle of Iron. We open on a sunrise and a quote by the blind man: "Tie 2 birds together, even though they have 4 wings, they cannot fly." Followed by another quote by Cord, the seeker: "A horse has no udders, and a cow can't whinny, and up is down, and sideways is straight ahead." And another
I had to read that like 3 times.
And another quote: "Look, in order to maintain airspeed velocity, a swallow needs to beat its wings 43 times every second, right? Am I right?" We zoom down on David Carradine playing his signature flute, and then gong! Time for mustache karate. We're in an outdoor arena where 2 John Oates lookalikes fight for an audience of even more John Oates lookalikes. Maybe that's
wearing laser tag vests for some reason.
Maybe this is the problem with these movies. Less white guys.
Yes. Yeah, that started to bother me, because it's like dealing with all these Eastern concepts.
Yeah.
And it's just white guys.
Yeah. I think there's 2 actual Asian guys in the entire movie, and they both get smoked immediately.
Right. White guys dominate all other races in this movie.
So the 2 guys kick each other around for a little bit, and then Morthond is declared the winner. And then we have
the names in this movie.
Yeah. I'm about to go through them. Then the next match is Pelele and Agado. And Pelele smokes Agado. He was the first Asian guy. He's gone. Then Aghanim and Cord, our hero, with his brilliant lion's mane of hair and all his face creases.
What was up with that?
I don't know. He was like, I feel like he was supposed to be in his like 20s or something.
He looks like
looks like he's goddamn 49.
He looked like he was molded out of Play-Doh.
And the hair, he was like the stupidest looking protagonist of any movie like I think I've seen in a long time.
Just this perfect circle of these golden curls. So Cord dominates the fight with a few swift kicks to the ass. Morthond and Pelele have their battle, and Morthond wins that, advancing to the final contest between Morthond and Cord. And Cord defeats Morthond, but Morthond's declared the winner for some reason, and the crowd just hates Cord.
Because they said he hit him when he was already down.
Yeah.
I thought this was like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Cord takes issue with this, and Roddy McDowell up there tells him that he hit Morthond after he was down and therefore disqualified. And Cord says that he came a long way to compete for the right to find Zetan and the Book of Enlightenment, which contains all the wisdom of the world. And Roddy McDowell doesn't give a crap, and he just dismisses Cord, saying Morthond is the tempered weapon they need to defeat the invincible Zetan. So Cord says, well, go to hell, Roddy McDowell. I'll go fight Zetan anyway. It seems like we could have just skipped all of this.
Yeah, he just follows the dude who got the medal anyway.
Yeah. The rules... And this is another thing. Like for a fantasy, there's just no world building at all. Like I don't know what's this about. What is this?
World building. Let me tell you something about world building. We're about to revisit the cave from Field Freak.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's like there is no world. Like you don't get a feeling that there's anything outside of what this dude is doing, and anything he comes across just happens to be part of his quest. Like,
yeah.
Oh man.
Well, it's all just shot in ruins.
Right.
There's no sets or anything, so yeah, it's we're gonna use someone else's world building. So we see David Carradine again playing his flute some more, and Cord's walking through the streets, and he sits down and hunkers down in the street, and he's just waiting. And David Carradine comes walking by. You can tell that he's blind, and he's got a jangly little toe ring as he comes by.
I don't know why, but I was like
what's the
really
purpose of
creeped
that?
out by the toe bell. Like, I didn't want that much attention drawn to like David Carradine's feet. You know, like every time it came by, I had to think about David Carradine's feet. I don't know.
I was just wondering, like, is there some like historical thing that I missed about blind people having bells on their toes?
So he can find his feet.
Bend down. They're there. I don't know. I thought that y'all were going to clarify to me, like, in the 1700s, blah, 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 but no.
No, it makes no sense whatsoever. Somebody put a bell on him so they can keep track of him as he wanders aimlessly through the streets like Mr. Magoo.
Yeah.
So not long after he passes by, Morthond appears wearing scrubs for some reason. And passes by Cord, and Cord gets
paging Dr. Morthon.
Cord gets up and follows him as he leaves the city. A little ways outside, Morthon gets pissed and confronts Cord, and he breaks his year-long vow of silence. And he's like, "Why are you following me around? God damn it! I beat you in that fight, and I'll fight you again just to prove it." And Cord says, I've got no beef with you. I want to kill Zeton, and I want to come along and help you. So Morthon reluctantly lets Cord tag along with him. They take a little break, and the bell-toed blind man walks past them again and wanders into a ruined building. And they hear shouting in the building, so Cord goes running to investigate, and Morthon takes this opportunity to give him the slip and get a head start on Cord. Cord enters the building where it's instantly nighttime.
Yes.
To see the blind man taking on multiple assailants with nothing but his whistle stick. He's just got his Christmas wrapping paper tube.
Yeah. Now, like, I don't want to tell these thugs, how to assault a blind man or anything, but like, maybe don't scream at the top of your lungs before every attack.
Right.
That'd be my main advice to them.
So the blind man easily defeats them, but one opponent's left and he's about to throw a knife. He's the only guy with a head on his shoulders. But luckily Cord's there and snaps to action and ninja stars him in the face. But the blind man disappears before he can talk to him. Later, after Cord sets up camp, he hears a flute in the distance. He goes wandering and finds the blind man in a cave where he sits playing his flute and snapping apples in half.
Some Mr. Miyagi shit.
Yeah. Cord says that he's looking for a great martial artist called Zetan. But he says if Zetan is half as good as the blind man, he doesn't think he's ready, because he knows he wouldn't last 1 minute with a fight against the blind man, even with all his training and his 2 eyes. Cord then says, wait a second. You're Zetan. Must be. We're only 20 minutes into this movie.
Yeah.
First duty encounters must be Zetan.
There's a pattern with this. The blind man simply replies, whatever you think I am, I am. Thanks.
Useless.
Also, this is where like I immediately got mad because Carradine was trying to do his best like Bruce Lee like cadence of talking, and it was very offensive. And then I started on this is where I found the progress from Bruce Lee to Carradine, and I can sum it up with Saturday morning cartoons. I would go from Bruce Lee to Carradine.
Why not? Let's go.
So we got Bruce Lee. No, we don't have Bruce Lee. We have Thundercats and Silverhawks and all that, like the good Saturday morning cartoons. Mm-hmm. Everybody loved all those. They were the best. And then they died under mysterious circumstances. And some people say it was a curse, but maybe not. But then it was as if some of it, like it was as if those cartoons had a son, and that's when we started having like, G.I. Joe and Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. And then somebody loaded the wrong ammo into a gun, and we got rid of those too. And then for the briefest sliver of moments, we had like one or two good cartoons. You had like X-Men.
Jackie Chan Adventures?
Yeah, no, you had X-Men, you had, I can't think of anything else. Probably just X-Men. And then for some reason, the X-Men hung themselves in a closet wearing pantyhose. And then we're left with the sharks that were like Ninja Turtles after that.
Street Sharks.
Street Sharks.
Yeah. Shitty.
Okay, like, I didn't follow any of that.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
All right, let's start over. You had Silverhawks and you had Thundercats. Those would be Bruce Lee.
Those are Bruce Lee.
Died under mysterious circumstances.
Okay.
Well, then you had the Ninja Turtles and all of them. It was like Bruce Lee was back. Like his son.
Brandon Lee?
Yeah, and then somebody loaded the ammo in the wrong gun and we lost him.
Jesus Christ. Okay, now it's starting to get pieced together.
Then Carradine was in that one, he was good Kill Bill, and so we had X-Men. And we all know how that happened, how that ended.
I'm speechless right now.
Okay.
It seems like you could have just told that story, and I don't know why the cartoons had to be drug into this.
Because that's how my mind works. Let me start over. You have Bruce Lee. You have Silverhawks and Thundercats.
I'm struggling with the Bruce Lee as Silverhawks.
Because it was fucking awesome.
I don't think Silverhawks was in the same strat as Thundercats.
Yeah, but they came on around the same time.
Cartoon.
Had an awesome theme song and everything.
One of them wore a goddamn cowboy hat. He was a goddamn space bird.
All of them were space birds.
Didn't he play the guitar too?
Yes, he played a guitar and he had a cowboy hat. They had a shit-kicking Silverhawk.
Yeah, so? Everybody loves a gunslinger.
Anyway, what's happening?
We've been locked up too long. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. Where the fuck were we?
The first time he spoke.
Yeah, Cord asked the blind man to teach him. And the blind man gives his little bird speech from the beginning, and then a goddamn monkey person comes out of nowhere. The blind man's...
I'm not about this monkey stuff.
It looks like Roddy McDowell brought his chimpanzee mask with him. And they just said, hey, we'll use that dirty old sweat-soaked thing. And they put it on this feral child to have him hop around.
Yeah, and also no additional elements of the costume.
Yeah, it's just a person with a monkey head. With monkey noises, stock monkey noises played over it as he hops around. So the blind man squares off against the monkey man for a little bit until it finally just runs off. And he then schools Cord on the tactics of monkeys and that they're all just fools disguised as monkeys or some shit like that. And if you don't turn your back on the monkey, you'll find out that he's just a coward in disguise or something. I don't know.
Coward disguised as a monkey.
So his advice is don't turn your back on it and circle around it, basically. Mm-hmm. You don't think everybody who's fought that monkey has faced him and circled?
Well, that's the thing.
What else are you doing to fight?
No, quick,
that's the thing about this movie that I just I don't get. He gives this advice, and then when we get to, I was like, okay, it'll make sense in the moment later, right?
No.
It never does. No. He's just like, oh, okay, and then he wins, and then I'm like, what did he do? What did he learn? Yeah. I don't. No. I'm lost.
Yeah. But the advice is so basic.
Yeah, we're confronted with a monkey man. Fight him.
Yeah. If you think you're about to go underwater, hold your breath.
But that seems. I mean, on a literal level, yeah, it seems really basic. I thought it would have maybe another level, like. Okay,
not to jump ahead, and I really don't want to jump ahead, but there is a point where the blind man explains himself, and it's all dodgy at best. Yeah. So that's way in the end. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. So Cord says that I'll study the monkeys closely. Don't worry. But also, fuck those monkeys. I don't need to fight no monkeys.
Monkeys ain't shit.
I remember fighting no monkeys like it's a thing to do. Man, I got more sense than that. Yeah, I remember fighting the monkeys. So, the blind man gives Cord the slip, and Cord spots Morthond appearing, and he looks like he's hurt, and he's stumbling around, and he collapses into the rocks. He's covered in blood. Cord asks him what happens, and Morthond says that it was the first trial, the monkey trial. So Morthond gives Cord the medallion, which means that he's now the chosen one to go fight Zetan or something. It really doesn't matter. Morthond asks Cord to help him die with honor, so Cord assists him, he sits him up, and he helps him commit hara-kiri. So, yeah.
What culture are we going for here?
Like I said.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It's an absolute mess.
All I could think was Hank Hill when he says, so are you Chinese or Japanese?
So, Cord puts on the medallion, and I can't help but think we could have started the movie right here.
Yeah, why not?
I couldn't believe we had to sit through that entire tournament at the beginning. The whole thing.
Yeah, from the preliminaries on up.
Yeah, we watched the whole bracket.
And each fight was 5 seconds long.
And shit you not, there was an actual bracket.
Oh, yeah. It was, that Roddy McDowell was in control of. Oh, my God. So, Cord goes into the cave where Morthond came out, and he hears the chattering of the monkey people in the distance. And he goes inside, and there's monkey people everywhere. And again, it's just people in clothes with monkey masks. And there's some guy fighting the boss monkey, and he's got one of those, I don't know what the actual name for it is. It's the 3-sticked nunchucks. Whatever that is.
Oh, yeah.
The 3 chucks.
The 3 chucks.
Try Chuck.
Yeah. The second legitimate Asian guy in the movie. And he gets smoked by the monkey man. And the monkey man takes his medallion. Cord watches on and remembers the words of wisdom from the blind man. So he approaches the boss monkey and squares up, and he tells the boss monkey that he's here to face the first trial. And the boss monkey says, "Oh, where's your begging cup? Don't worry, you'll soon be begging for me." And he asks him, what school does he come from? And Cord says that he belongs to no school, and he's trying to find Zetan. And the boss monkey laughs at him, and he asks him what fighting style he uses, and Cord says, my style. And so the boss monkey says, you should go back the way you came, and turns his back to him. Not taking his own, he should know not to turn your back on people.
Yeah, exactly.
So they finally decide to get around to fighting, and they scrap for...
Yeah, it's like a goddamn Dragon Ball Z episode over here.
They scrap around for a bit, and like you said, they're just fighting. He's not really doing anything special, like like only like kiting around him, making sure he stays in front of her, and it's a regular fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is the kind of thing that I think, like, if Bruce Lee had been involved, would have been better.
Yeah.
Because, like, he, like, knew how to tell a story through the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there'd be a story there,
Also, he knew how to fight.
True. Yeah. I looked it up, too, because I was like, does David Carradine even know any martial arts?
Well, he knows
fucking
Kung Fu. Clearly, I mean, come on. He was in that show.
I know. He got hired for that show, apparently, because he's a dancer. And he was, like, agile or whatever.
Didn't he take Bruce Lee's spot for that show?
Did he?
Wasn't that in that movie that wasn't totally true about Bruce Lee?
The Dragon, a Bruce Lee story?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's just go ahead and say he took it from Bruce Lee.
Just stealing Bruce Lee's roles all over the place.
Yeah.
Yes. Even, God, I'm fucking retarded. I don't know the word. Post-Homian, no, God, shut up, bitch. Shut up.
Posthumously?
Yes, I'm an idiot.
Okay.
It's post-homily. That's exactly what it is.
Post-humanoid. Damn you, public school education.
So, in the middle of the fight, for no apparent reason, the boss monkey starts getting scared of Cord and starts running from him. And Cord's chasing him around and finally pins him down and punches him in the face. And the boss monkey gives up the prize, which are directions to Z. But might I add that the boss monkey is David Carradine. This is his second role of the movie.
In his most embarrassing role.
His monkey makeup is basically a Frankenstein head.
It's terrible.
He can't see out of the damn thing because his brow is over his eyes, touching the tip of his nose. And when I said it was time for more Carradine thighs, holy shit! Do you get Carradine thighs in this scene? He is splay-legged through this whole goddamn fight.
Also, I read on the trivia, like when he's the blind man, he had these contacts to make his eyes look weird.
Yeah. And he could only wear
them for like an hour at a time or something like that.
Because they're solid glass.
Yeah. Well, but then, in the beginning of the movie, he does a good job. But by the end of the movie, he's like looking at people in the face when they're talking to him and all that.
Yeah.
I was like, was there a missed scene where he reveals that he's not actually blind?
He's just
puts on some sunglasses.
Holy shit. So the boss monkey gives up the prize, directions to Zeton, and he says to follow the west wind to a forest and look for a rose. So Cord starts laughing like a maniac after gloating over the monkeys, and he skips away out of the cave.
This was so out of place.
Yeah, he gets really happy, and he's like, huh, looks like you were begging for me now, huh?
He just laughs maniacally, basically telling all the monkeys, fuck you.
So, meanwhile...
Well, he was told he was the... Didn't the monkey guy say he was the first one to ever beat him?
Yes. He's the first one. He said, you're the first one to... Because he asked the guy, are there others that are ahead of me in the search? And he says, you're the first one to beat me, but other seekers have different trials. So not necessarily everyone is going through the Monkey Man.
And let me pick this shit apart real quick. Why the fuck did we have a tournament if there's multiple people out here doing trials?
Well, that was that district.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Katniss is in a different district.
Yeah, but then, it doesn't even matter because all you got to do, apparently, is follow the winner. And you get to go on the quest, too.
There's no regulation.
Yeah.
There's very, very strict rules during this fighting tournament. But once you leave the ring, man, we have no control over
it's all on the honor system.
Yeah.
There's no officials out there in the field or anything.
We merely facilitate the medal giving That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the rules within this particular set of ruins.
Yes.
All the other ruins have their own shit going on.
So, meanwhile, the blind man's playing his flute some more as Cord continues his journey across the desert. As he's crossing the desert, he runs into old Eli Wallach, sitting in a big pot of oil in the desert. Here we go. This is a fun one.
When the fuck did we start playing Getting Over It? It was so out of place.
Yeah. So Eli Wallach,
this is when I started to feel like it was this. They were going for this kind of like surreal journey thing.
Yeah, this is.
Chase, were you there? Were you there when we watched Zardoz in college?
Oh hell yes, I was there for Zardoz.
I was getting some Zardoz vibes off this shit right here.
Fucking Zardoz.
The gun is good. The penis is bad.
Big floating head, vomiting guns. So, yeah, this is just a little side quest for Cord. Eli Wallach's sitting there in a big pot of oil, and he tells Cord that he's been in this pot of oil for 10 years, and he's trying to rot his dick off. Yep, that's exactly what's happening.
This motherfucker's spitting.
He tells Cord that he tried cutting it off, but he was a coward and he couldn't go through it. He's a holy man and a doctor, but he needs to rid himself of this terrible thing. So
he was afraid to cut it off, but wasn't afraid to sit there for 10 years and waste away.
Yeah, as the oil dissolves him. So he says that Cord should join him in the oil. Because Cord took a vow of chastity, but you're not going to keep it. So Cord says,
I don't know. He's 67 years old and he still kept it.
So Cord says good luck to Eli Wallach, and he skips off through the desert, finds Zeton, and laughs away as he ignores the man in oil's pleas to cut his dick off or something.
You can't ignore this. Like, sometimes you gotta dissolve your dick in oil, bros. Like, these are the hard truths about martial arts. No dicks allowed.
Yeah.
It's one of Bruce Lee's most famous musings. You know, like, if you beat your dick enough, one day your dick beats you, you know?
Yeah. Be like water and have no dick.
Yeah. Wallach says that because he asks him how he's still alive. Wallach says, "Oh, well, my family brings me food and water. Like, your family's okay with you doing this? Oh, yeah. Well, my wife was upset at first, but."
She realized she didn't have to see my smelly old dick anymore. So,
So that night, Cord, wandering through the desert, stumbles into Burning Man. There's jugglers and fireworks and booze and broads, and it's just a grand old time. He notices a veiled woman with a rose emblem on her headdress, and so this is clearly what the Monkey Man was talking about. He follows her into a tent where he meets Carradine Roll number 3, Changsha.
Uncle Rico.
Don't you want to bet I could throw a football over them mountains?
He looks just like Uncle Rico. That is the only notes I took for this whole movie was the words Uncle Rico.
Yeah. It's the desert pleasure baron Changsha, I guess. He says that he will find happiness providing whatever Cord needs, and he gives him Tara, his 9th wife, which is the woman with the rose emblem. And Cord asks him if he knows of the second trial, and as he says that, some muscly guy over in the corner stands up, and he picks up a big thing of candles, and that's a signal to everyone to get up and leave.
it's go time.
So they go outside, and Changsha takes off his robes to reveal a stunning bedazzled brassiere. Mm-hmm. The muscly man, who's another seeker like Cord, challenges Changsha to fight. Changsha wins by punching the dude in his big red diaper a bunch of times. Cord has to wait a night before he can take his trial because I guess it's one fight a night for Changsha. It's time for sleepy buys.
Yeah, he's tuckered out.
So that night, while Cord meditates in his tent, Tara brings him a rose, and Cord asks her if Changsha is Zeton. Like, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. One of these motherfuckers is Zeton.
I know that dude's around here somewhere.
I'm gonna be right by accident eventually.
Zeton's a man. I'm bound to guess at some point. So Cord then guesses that Tara, you're my second trial, aren't you? And he tries to resist her feminine wiles, but she drops trow, and he just can't resist it.
He even guessed it and still failed, like, immediately.
So she leads him to a bath, and there's several well-placed cups and leaves that I bet drove John crazy through this whole scene.
Dude.
You ain't seeing nothing.
I'm like, give me something.
Yeah, this made the Austin Powers gag seem not so original anymore. It was like, oh, well, this is where they got it from.
So she bathes him, and then they decide to walk the line of his palm together. Yuck. So she says that...
That'll cost you $20 at a massage parlor.
So she says that she'll go with him, but they need to rest first because what lies ahead won't be easy.
Yeah, he said he wanted her to be with him forever, that he, like, fell in love with her.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that must have been some bomb-ass pussy.
Yeah, well, that dude's been offshore for 60 years.
Well, she says, well, don't worry. I love you too. We're going to spend the rest of our lives together, but let's get some rest tonight because what lies ahead won't be easy. Cut to the Nigerian funeral dancers. Cord awakens alone in the desert. He gets up. Changsha's whole soiree is gone. He searches around looking for Tara, and he finds her up on a thing. That's the best I can describe. It's like a bunch of sticks, and she's just kind of propped up on it, and I guess dead.
I don't know what she died from.
Yeah.
My man should have cut his dick off, like the dude said.
I told you.
All his problems could have been solved if he just gotten that oil.
That thing causes nothing but trouble. Yep. He picks up a rose at her feet and screams, Changsha! And runs away. You're not even going to check and see if she's alive. So
I was very upset that for some reason his voice echoed in the middle of the desert. That bothered me more than it should have.
So we hear the blind man playing his flute some more, and Cord just continues on his journey. That night, Cord sits in some ruins eating when he hears voices in the distance. So he sets a trap with frogs.
What was that about?
No clue.
He ties two frogs together and deliberately puts them down on the ground. And we hang on these frogs to make sure we see they're tied together.
Yeah, these two frogs tied together, even with four wings, they couldn't fly. I was thinking, like, maybe since they're constantly croaking, it's drowning out the sound of the voices, maybe?
I
but
thought
then
they
you
would
have
be
frogs yelling in your ear?
They're like his alarm clock or something.
I don't know. Couldn't figure it out.
I don't know. Tie two frogs together, they won't bump their ass when they hop. He then enters some crazy tripped out nightmare where a creature, Death, Carradine roll number 4.
I take it back. This is his most embarrassing role.
Yeah.
Proto Black Panther.
Exactly, yeah. It's basically Black Panther. Attacks him like a cougar, and he successfully taunts and backs down Death.
He's like, I don't give a fuck about you. End of nightmare.
And just like, next time, Cord, and he runs away.
And then Cord has the audacity to call him ugly.
Dude's got a face like a rotisserie chicken's ass.
Yeah.
So Yeah, he backs down Death, and Death runs away, and he wakes up from his dream. The next day, what were the frogs for? They never explain it. Also, that's Death's whole part of this entire saga. He
sort of comes back later, briefly. But
yeah, he sort of comes back later, but not really. That was like the bulk of Death. Hey, I'm gonna get you. You ain't getting shit. Okay, bye. That's.
And by the way, you're ugly.
It's like, damn, it's cold-blooded, Cord.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Cord looks like he had fire ants all over his face, and he got him off with a fork.
So, the next day, Cord finds a waterfall and takes a bath. And as he comes out, he hears the blind man yell out to him, "You can't step on the same piece of water twice." Okay, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Who calls it a piece of water?
Oh, shit. So, the blind man squats down in the pool.
Hold on, can we pause for a second so I can go to get a piece of water?
Damn it. You had me. I thought we were really about to stop for some reason.
Acting.
I was about to say, that'd be a beautiful place to drop in Spanish Flea.
You still can.
Oh, God. So the blind man squats down in the water and snaps up a fish like Smeagol and snaps it open like an apple. They come to rest at a stone on a hill after traveling, and the blind man asks Cord of his second trial. And he says that it wasn't a trial, but a lesson. So we're just gonna ignore the fact that was your second trial, asshole. Just because you failed at it. No, that one didn't count.
That wasn't even a trial.
So
that's what we call back in Mungdagar just some strange trim.
So the blind man has to hear it anyway, because every day, even though he's a wise man, he wakes up and he wipes the slate clean or some bullshit. I don't fucking know. So Cord tells him that he took a vow of chastity because he loved someone so much he killed her with love or something. And he tells Cord that you cannot possess even yourself, so how could you hope to possess anyone else? I don't know what they're talking about.
Sounds like two losers to me. I want to fall in love, but maybe I love too much.
Yeah, she doesn't love me because I just love her too damn much.
Yay.
That big wall of those pictures cut out of her with the eyes poked out. I guess it's not helping.
Yep.
So Cord again presses the blind man to teach him, and the blind man finally agrees on one condition. Cord is not to ask questions of any of the events that are about to unfold until the blind man gives him an answer. So he agrees, and they continue on their way.
He agrees and immediately fucks that
up. They come across some peasants that are like the ferrymen of this river, and they ask if they can cross the river, and the old man says, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And the blind man offers payment with this little bead that he has on his necklace, but the wife comes in and says, "No fucking way, I'm taking that bead," and they bicker and argue for a while, and we hard cut to Cord and the blind man rowing away in the boat, and we hear the woman say, "How are you going to get the boat back?" And that's a damn good question.
I thought they stole the boat at first.
I did too.
I thought this became a comedy, and they stole the fucking boat.
They just slipped away while they're fighting.
Yeah, the guy's wife's giving him a bunch of shit, and they're just like, "Bye."
So, as they row away, Cord says, "Oh, that poor man," and the blind man says, "Oh, that man's perfectly happy." And Cord says, "But he's in constant misery because of that woman." And the blind man says, "A happy man is one that does not fear death, and that asshole can't wait to fucking die."
Which, look, that was the best bit of wisdom through this whole damn movie. Like, when he said it, I was like, yes, that is unbelievably profound.
So they get to the other bank of the river, and the blind man smashes up the boat whenever they dock it. And of course,
like Rick James on the couch. Fuck your boat.
Cord asks, "Why would you do that?" And the blind man gets angry because Cord broke his promise of not asking questions. But then they hear trouble in the distance, and they're set upon by a horde of warriors from all over time. There's a samurai and a barbarian and a Celtic berserker and a Roman soldier and a revolutionary war cavalryman. I don't know what the hell is happening.
Yeah, dude, it was like he mentioned Buddha earlier, and I'm like, they got Buddha in this weird, like, dick melting surreal fantasy world.
You don't remember when Buddha sat under the tree and melted his dick off?
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
And the music they played with this.
Oh, this whole scene, there's about to be a 15-minute fight chase montage, and it's all set to Victorian harpsichord music.
So,
all the music in
give you a
this is
little
trash.
background into my house as I'm watching this. I watched it this afternoon. My daughter is being homeschooled by my wife because of the quarantine. And I'm watching this movie in my room. And my wife had to come in there and tell me that my daughter keeps wanting to stop doing her schoolwork because she wants to see what game I'm playing because it sounds fun. So that's the type of music that a child would think that I'm playing a video game. I want to go see what game he's playing. Oh, shit. Just a jaunty fucking tune.
Yep. It's just bing, biddle, ling, ting, ting, ping, ping, diddle.
It's so, like, generic and forgettable, and all music is trash. It's really bad.
So, Cord and the blind man scamper through the woods trying to escape. They split up as one of the Huns descends upon Cord, and he spins around and roundhouses the horse, sending the rider flying.
That was all right.
Best part of yeah. This is probably going to be my say something nice, just to get that out of the way now. The blind man gives a couple of the riders the old whoopsie-doo by running around a tree a few times, completely discombobulating them.
I did appreciate that the whole time the bell was ringing when this was going on.
Ding, 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 ding. So, Cord then starts humming Throwing Stars into people's faces some more. Harpsichord music. One of the riders splits off and comes upon some home in rural China and scares this woman and her children inside before he busts through one of their stone walls, revealing a shiny bag of Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
It's pirate's gold in ancient China.
So Cord and the blind man come upon the home, and the blind man starts rapidly rebuilding the wall. And Cord's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And
and once again, I'm thinking this is turning into a comedy again.
So the soldiers keep coming, and they have to run and hide, and they're fighting them off, and they go back and they're building the wall some more. And Cord's getting pissed, like, "Oh, I know what you're doing. You feel guilty for busting that dude's boat, so you're trying to fix these people's wall to make it all better." And you know the Scooby-Doo thing continues where they're running away from the bandits. And
I did like when he's like, "The roof needs fixing too. You want to?"
So they finally they hide under a bridge and they give the soldiers the slip, and the blind man falls asleep because he's just that serene at all this. And so they get up and Cord says, you know what, I'm done with this shit because this is getting stupid. And he says the blind man was just a fool for sitting there building that wall, waiting for the soldiers to kill him. And the blind man says, the fool is the twin of the wise. I thought the fool was the coward in the monkey suit. You're not making any goddamn sense, dude.
Monkeys are wise.
So they argue as they wander through the woods, and they come across an oceanside settlement. And there's some young boy who's given attitude to his mom, walks away from her and walks up to them and snaps his fingers at Carradine and holds out his hand. And they stare at each other for a while. Blind man, by the way.
Yeah.
They stare at each other for a while, and then Carradine just smacks him in the mouth, making a bunch of orange slime spray out of his face.
Best part of the damn movie. I watched this like 10 fucking times. Because there's subtlety to the slap. He raises his hand and he hesitates for a second, as if to say, "I wish a motherfucker would." and then he slaps the fuck out of that kid. Now the kid, like, we'll understand more later on, but all the kid did was flinch when his mom was brushing his hair. That's all we know.
Well, and then his dad brings him something to eat, and he takes a bite and spits it out at him.
Oh, I must not have paid attention to that.
Yeah.
Never mind. Slap continues.
I like thinking about Bruce Lee as like, if a child is encountered, you must slap him.
If you ever have the I don't know, the fortitude to watch the thing again, just watch that slap.
Yeah.
Because he raised his hand and there's a slight hesitation. And I loved it.
And this is just another thing about just movies in this age. Did they not know what blood looked like? That it didn't look like red house paint?
Well, no, it looked different back then. I mean, the world had only recently switched from black and white to color. I mean,
because all these old movies, it's just bright ass red house paint.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer for that. I mean, I assume it has something to do with how it shows up on camera, but
maybe it's a Technicolor thing.
Maybe
that's just how it looked back then.
It needs to be vibrant.
Blood looked like that.
Anyway.
Well, True Blood. I think they also figured out probably. Because like blood's like a lot brighter than like you think it is.
Yeah.
So like these days it's really dark in movies because that's how people imagine it. But yeah, it actually is brighter than you think. But maybe they just decided it looked bad.
Well, it does.
Says the man with the murder basement. Let me tell you how bright blood is.
So after they slap the kid, they walk by the kid's parents, and the dad's like, "Yeah, that's how you slap a child, all right."
Fucking right.
They high-fived.
So they get away from the little village, and Cord's finally had enough of it. And he breaks off his deal with the blind man, and he demands, "I need to know why you did all those zany things back there." And so the blind man finally gives it up, and he says, "I smashed the boat because if I hadn't done that, the soldiers would have used it to cross the river and killed the ferryman and his family. That's an idiotic reason. You didn't know there was a time machine on the other end of the bank just spitting out soldiers." He says that he fixed the wall because the coins that were hidden were the savings of the widow and her children. And if they would have been left out, the soldiers would have stolen it, leaving her penniless. Bullshit. He broke the boy's face because he was too beautiful. Fuck this asshole, Cord. Go kill Christopher Lee so we can stop watching this pretentious horse shit.
I was about to call Chris Hansen when Cord was talking about it, because he's like, wait, what did he say? You mutilated that beautiful boy? He was a beautiful boy. Calm down there, dude.
What do you got in that bag there, Cord?
Some little loincloths getting
condoms.
Too beautiful.
Some wine coolers.
Yeah.
He would have grown up to have been a tyrant. And
we have the chat logs, Cord.
So Cord demands to know how the blind man knew all of this, and he realizes that the blind man has done all this
I didn't know if this was like the subtle play at reincarnation, but that doesn't work either.
No, it's like
that's not how it works.
It's revealed later, but I mean, it's still dumb.
Is it?
Kinda.
No, like the same events.
Yeah.
Playing over and over again.
No,
I don't know.
No,
I'm not arguing that it's stupid.
Okay.
I think you're defending it.
I'm just saying I think that's their reason for it. It's a dumb
does
reason.
Chase love this movie?
That's what I think.
Damn it. So Cord continues on his own, and he comes across Shasta McNasty or whatever his fucking name was.
Uncle Rico.
He finds him on the beach with his troop of zany people, and he asks him where Zayton is, and Changsha tells him that Zayton is near. He simply has to pass through him first. So Cord says, I have no quarrel with you, to which Changsha is surprised, considering that he put Tara up on that thing.
He said crucified her, but that wasn't a crucifixion.
No. It was
right?
It was 3 sticks leaning against each other like a teepee, and she was just just had her ass plopped down on like the cross of them.
That's not crucified, right?
No.
I mean, it maybe is a kind of crucifixion. Maybe there's more than one. I don't know
So,
either.
Cord, he doesn't give a shit about terror anymore, and he tells Changsha that they will fight right now. And so they go to the...
So, wait, hold on. Okay, so what is the lesson here? Is my question. So, like, this guy gives this other guy his wife to fuck. That guy is like, he does it. And then the husband murders this lady just to get a rise out of him. And then the guy doesn't even get mad. And it's like, nah, don't even worry about it, dude. It was my bad.
No, the lesson's just to know when to say, yeah, I fucked up.
So they just like shake hands, like, lady's dead. No big deal.
You know what? My bad. That was the lesson. No, bro, it's my bad. No, bro.
It's my bad. My bad, bro.
I'm starting to think this movie isn't very good. So they go to their oversized checkerboard to fight. And they start circling each other, and they start fighting, and people and various animals are looking on with varying levels of indifference. They keep cutting to these camels.
Are pretty interested.
They keep cutting to these camels, and it's hilarious every time they do it.
Yeah.
So
the camels were dope. They had like popcorn and stuff.
So,
they knew they were on camera too.
So while they're fighting, Cord starts having hallucinations of the fight with the boss monkey and death. And he hears the blind man's flute in the distance, and it gives him the clarity to show Changsha that he's his equal in fighting. So they stop fighting, and Changsha embraces him and shows the Cord to this big peacock bloat, and he says that Zayton lay in wait across the water. You're the chosen one, Cord.
Now, I had a problem with the boat.
Okay.
Because what if he wouldn't have come to the realization that they're the same or whatever? Was the boat just going to show up there and be like, well, did he do it? Nah, he didn't do it. All right, we're heading back.
And Cord would have been like, hey, is that the boat? I'm going to go get on it anyway.
Fuck you, I'm going to go get on the boat. So Cord gets in the boat, goes across the water, and he meets with Zayton's men, and he gets all gussied up in a blue robe to meet Zayton. And
what are those hats called?
Stupid?
I've seen them before.
They're like peasant hats in like medieval fiefdoms or whatever. Serfdoms.
I've killed many a NPC wearing that hat.
Yeah. They always have like a pitchfork or something.
Yeah.
So he's brought to Zayton, and it's Christopher Lee, and Zayton says, "Oh, I'm pleased to meet you, Cord." And Cord strikes a karate stance, ready for anything. But Zayton just hands him a rose instead. And Zayton takes Cord through the gardens and shows him their way of doing things, which is to let the teachers and students learn to teach and do the teaching together or something. Why not?
Yeah.
There's 9 minutes left, guys. Let's just wrap this up.
Not a vag in sight. Just a big old sausage party with stupid hats.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think there's a problem. Maybe Bruce Lee had a problem with women or something. Like, the only women in this movie either get murdered for no reason or are a nag.
Yeah.
And then, like, none of them make it to the, like, promised land or whatever.
No, here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Since Carradine stole the kung fu role from Bruce Lee, we know that as fact.
Okay.
When he stole this movie from him, he wanted to forever tarnish Bruce Lee's name and make this movie as shitty as possible.
So they sit and are brought tea. Zeton says Cord looks puzzled, and Cord asks, when will they fight? Because he wants to get that book. And Zeton says, well, first, we must go prepare you for the ceremony that prepares you to become the new keeper of the book. So he takes Cord into a circular room overlooking the sea and shows him the seat of harmony and asks Cord to sit down. He does, and I'm thinking, how is this going to be wrapped up in 5 minutes? So
they're wondering the same thing.
Yeah. Zeton says Cord's future will be endless days of peace, but Cord demands to see the book. Zeton has his followers bring it. Zeton says that Cord has survived several harrowing trials. Did he? His trials were to fight a monkey, get laid, and then fight another guy that ended in a tie. That's not that bad.
According
that's pretty sweet,
according
really.
to Cord, he only had 2 trials.
Yeah, the lady wasn't even a trial.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, and if you count the lady, he failed that one. He shouldn't even be here.
He doesn't deserve the book.
The real trial is not giving a fuck that she died.
Yeah. Zeton says that what he's about to see in the book may be more alarming than all of the trials that he's faced. And Zeton says that Cord can take his place here, guarding the book without looking at it, just as Zeton did all those years ago. Now, it was at this point, while writing the notes, I had the movie paused and thought to myself, now, after they reveal whatever's in the book, I need to make some kind of joke about what if they opened it and it was just some mirror or some bullshit like that, and like it had some deep fucking meaning or something, and it's a total cop-out ending. Guess fucking what? Opens the book, and it's a mirror. Fuck you.
I had a feeling all along, just because I was thinking like the whole zen of it would be, yourself is always the answer. Like, that's just the way it goes. Look, Buddhism has its things, and that's one of them. That you ain't getting no answer.
Yeah.
Who knew that when my daughter was born, we bought her the Book of Enlightenment? It was crinkly and crunchy, and it had a big mirror in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Look,
She learned the answer to everything now.
take your pick. You can be Buddhist and not have any answers, or Catholic and get raped.
It had a big smiling whale on the cover.
Listen up. Don't ask me for nothing. I got you the book with all the answers in it.
So, Zeton explains that year after year, seekers fight their way here, paying terrible prices to seek the knowledge within the book. And when they open the book, they discover themselves. Okay, how has no one thrown you off this fucking cliff yet?
Seriously.
So,
So really, Saruman was the only one stupid enough to not look at the book.
yes,
Yeah, he's been there for decades.
Come on, man, don't look at the book. Come on.
So,
Every single one of them's like, nah, man, this shit sucks. I'm out of here.
yeah.
Dude, I came all the way here and killed that lady. I'm looking in the book.
So he says that the
I
Seekers...
still smell like monkey shit. I'm looking at it.
He says the Seekers either usually stay there with Zeton to continue their learning, or they go back into the world in disguise, setting the trials for the next wave of Seekers. And then there's this big dumbass, oh moment, where Cord rubs his two brain cells together to figure out that the blind man was a Seeker who was also the monkey and also Shasta McNasty. And all that fucking shit.
He was also the girl.
So Cord does his thing where he starts laughing like an idiot, walks away as Zeton pleads with him to take his job over so he can retire protecting this stupid book.
Come on, dude. Come on. Nah, man, fuck you. Just like the monkeys.
Nah, I'm out. The book is dumb.
So Cord leaves. He finds the blind man, the quote-unquote blind man, playing his flute. He looks up at Cord and he asks him if he looked in the book. And he asks him what he saw. And Cord stands there grinning like a maniac and says, everything. And I was hoping, against hope, that Cord would have just up and taken a rock and smashed his head for sending him on this stupid journey for this book. But no, they just hug and have this dumbass jam session where Carradine gives Cord the flute and he starts playing it like a jackass, hopping around.
Yeah,
and
he's the Pied Piper.
He goes in this wide shot of them dancing, playing the flute, and the movie ends.
I couldn't believe it.
Dumb. A mirror.
I watched the credits, and this is when you realize, sign of the times. So you had like the guy that fought Uncle Rico first was a big muscular black dude, and like he even calls him his black brother and stuff like that. I was like, you can't really do that now. But you know what he's credited as?
Oh God, I'm scared to find out.
I do.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not terrible. Just the Black Giant. Like, come on.
Yeah, I was looking at the IMDb, and it took me a while to figure out that that's who he was referring to.
Yeah. Just call him Frank or something.
Oh, he's the Black Giant.
Okay.
Could have given him a name.
I mean, he was massive.
No, he's a big dude, of course, but...
I have a headache now. Okay, should we do some questions?
Yes, I'm ready to fail. I'm ready to fail the second trial.
So, where we left off in the first half of the season, before we did our Karate Christmas Massacre, I was in the lead with 9, and Blake and John were both tied with 8, right behind me. So, still anybody's game. So, here we go. I have exactly 5 questions.
Good.
I have no idea what you're going to be asking.
None.
So, okay, here we go. Question number 1. In the beginning championship that's going on, all the competitors are color-coded.
Yes.
What color was Agado? Question number 2. What does Cord say Man in Oil's legs look like?
You couldn't ask what his penis looked like, huh?
Nope. That was going to be way too easy. Question number 3. How many candles are sitting next to the tub in the bath scene?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, man.
That's the Blake question of the night. Question number 4. What color were the boats painted in the scene with the child slapping?
Oh, no, man.
Number 5. In Zeton's little utopia, He has a group of people studying called the Near Ones. What are they learning to do?
What?
He says it.
Oh, wait. You're gonna have to give me a couple seconds on that. Come on. Oh, God.
I'll give you an extra few seconds. I'm calling it.
I have no clue.
It's the last question. Think about it while we're going through.
Okay.
Okay, pencils down. Question number 1. What color was Agato?
Blue?
Red?
He was yellow.
I had yellow and I scratched it out. Son of a bitch.
Which thing was yellow? What are you talking about? The chest thing or the
his chest
headband?
piece. His chest
Okay.
piece. The headbands made no fucking sense.
No, they were.
The chest pieces were their colors
Yeah.
Okay.
that matched the pebbles that Roddy Piper
See,
was
I was
moving
thinking
around.
of the pebbles.
So, okay. What does Cord say Man in Oil's legs look like?
Seaweed.
Seaweed.
Seaweed. You made a big stink about it. You knew what it was. How many candles are next to the tub in the bath scene?
6.
3?
4.
Ugh.
What color were the boats painted on the scene with the child slapping?
White?
Blue?
They were green. Number 5. The easy one. What are the Near Ones learning to do?
Speak the black speech of Mordor?
Live?
They're learning how to perfect perfection.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Well, we're still tied.
Yeah, we're more than tied. We're tied across the goddamn board again. The entire first half of the season didn't matter.
It's always the best when it happens this way.
Yeah, it does. It's I like it.
God damn it.
I was taking notes on all the colors except his. His was the only color I didn't write
I
down.
assumed the guy in the first match who was eliminated first would be the hardest to remember.
I swear, I could take a picture of it. I have yellow written down and I scratched it out.
Okay, well, that's out of the way. Now the dreaded Blake pick has to come up. What you got for us next
I'll
episode?
pull up the page. I've been busy, all right?
Blake prepared as always.
Yeah. So, I will say, I've been reading Lord of the Rings again for the umpteenth time while I'm confined. And then this movie, I was like, it's sword and sorcery. And I was like, well, let's stick in that vein again. So I started looking through and trying to find a good, shitty movie like that, which is hard. But I settled on Death Stalker. Can't even talk.
I know of this one.
So the synopsis, not synopsis, the little. What, I can't talk tonight.
The Sinopolis?
Yeah, the synopsis of it is the legendary outlaw Deathstalker is called upon to help save his kingdom from the evil wizard Munkar in this sword and sorcery cult classic. All the reviews are way too long, and all of them, everybody hates it. But the common denominator, all of them, is basically saying the glue that holds this movie together is the TNA. So I figured that's nice. A couple people said it's a man's movie, and so that's what we're watching. It's from 1983. It's 76 minutes long.
Barely a movie.
Yeah, barely a movie. And what made me choose it was the artwork for the movie, which I know isn't going to resemble the movie.
No, I can picture the cover that you're talking about. I know.
Yeah, it's very Korean looking, but it's like a
Boris
big
Vallejo
orc thing. Yeah, so big orc holding a woman.
Yeah.
Little gray-haired Conan guy swinging a sword at, and I was like, yeah, that does it right there.
Yeah, that will not be in the movie at all.
No, that's the thing. When I saw that, I said, that's not in it. And that's why I wanted to pick it.
All right. Well, we're going with the cult classic this week, so at least there'll be some material in there.
Yeah.
That's good. It's gonna make up for the disappointment I caused John with this movie.
Oof.
Yeah. All right, that's a good one, and that one's on Amazon too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, easy to watch. Hooray! I think it's on Tubi too for you people who don't want to pay for Prime.
I was looking through Tubi today. What a shitty service.
I'm telling you, it was made for us.
I was going through the whole Ginger Dead Man catalog, and way too many Evil Bong movies for my liking. Including Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong.
Yep, they crossed over.
Jesus Christ.
Ginger Dead Man expanded universe.
All contained in that giant ass bakery.
Oh, Christ. Okay, it's time for it. Say something nice.
I like the comedic portions of the movie. The running around the tree with the bell ringing, that, like, I laughed. The kid getting slapped, beautiful. Those are the things that I enjoyed. It was nice to see a young Christopher Lee.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As in 80?
Yeah.
Oh, poor. I felt so bad for him. I felt so bad for everybody in this thing, really. I'm like, Eli Wallach, sir. You were the ugly.
Yeah.
You're sitting in a big, dissolving your dick off.
Is this pre or post ugly?
Oh, it's got to be post, right? He still had like dark hair and ugly.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to say that was 76, but I could be wrong.
I mean, do you have to feel bad for Christopher Lee? Didn't he take any movie thrown at him?
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much he was just a workman. He just took whatever.
How much you paying me? Okay.
He has time to sit and learn how to speak, orc for real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes 1 billion movies a year. All right. Next.
You want to go? You want me to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
I want to say, and maybe I'm crazy, but I think that there's a skeleton of a movie in here that could have been interesting.
Yeah.
If
I agree.
Lee was still around when it happened, he was able to get it out of pre-production hell and get it made. I think this could have been an entertaining Bruce Lee movie. I'm
telling you, it's Carradine just finishing it off. Stole Kung Fu from him and then ruined this.
Yeah, I wonder, because Bruce Lee's got a story credit, but not screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if he died before the screenplay was written or what, but
yeah, the last of the history of it, the last I read that of his involvement is that they were still fighting on where to shoot it, because Bruce Lee wanted to shoot it in India, I believe, and whoever he was partnering with didn't want to do that, and it just kind of sat in that limbo, and then he died.
Wasn't they getting that Spectre dude direct it?
I think so.
I think I read that.
It sounds familiar. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So I did a little bit of research on the director. His name Richard Moore, I think. He's not much of a director. He only did 2 things. He was primarily a cinematographer. And my good is that I thought this was actually like a pretty good looking movie. it's some real nice shots, some pretty nice matte paintings.
Mm-hmm.
It was an alright looking movie. So that's mine. I just thought it was shot nicely. Yeah.
There we go. So that wraps that one up. Do we have any other hypothetical questions we can ask to send us into a roiling stupor?
No.
Nah, you let me down. We're too involved in the stock market over here.
Dude, let me tell you something. Animal Crossing is where it's at.
Our days are full of me and Blake texting each other through the Garbage Theater text chain about things that John has no idea what we're talking about.
I do it on purpose, though. I send it just so John has to read it.
My my wife was walking past my phone when one of the texts came in, and she's just like, Blake made a mistake with turnips today.
Boy, did I.
We're
sending each other little gifts, and
you gotta buy low. You gotta buy low when you get those turnips.
Yeah, but it's a wholesome thing. Me and Chase are sending each other clothes and shit.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I had to explain to her that you guys are just sending contextless, Animal Crossing shit to each other all day.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, of course.
We were talking about how, me, Blake, and Aaron are going to start coordinating stock market prices so we can corner the turnip market.
Right. It's important stuff.
And also, make sure when Crazy Red shows up, you check all those paintings, because sometimes he has more than one real one.
I don't trust that fox. The first, I will say that what I thought was funny, one of the first things I sent Chase, in the mail on there, it was on this nice pretty card with roses around the thing, and I'd sent them, I forget what I sent you, was it oranges? Or?
It was oranges.
Yeah. Sent him some oranges on this nice flowery card and just said, go fuck yourself.
And I believe me, my finger hovered over that report button for a couple of seconds.
I was like, he wouldn't report me. There ain't no way.
You'd never send anything to anyone again.
See, I have a flag made for my island that is a giant penis, but I'm afraid to put it up there.
Thank you for listening to Garbage Theater. As always, you can find us online at facebook.com/Garbage Theater, on Twitter at Garbage_Theater, and on Instagram at Garbage_Theater. If you'd care to leave us a review on iTunes, we would very much appreciate it. And if you have a movie suggestion or just want to reach out to us, you can contact us on any of our social channels or email us directly at garbagetheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all the latest episodes and happenings. Good night, and see you next time, folks.